This is not about me telling you how great I am, but all I tell you is that if I can do it, you can do it. There is greatness in you. It is easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men.
Welcome to the Man Maker Show. This is where weak excuses die and men of all ages are held accountable to rise stronger, bolder, and fearless. Grit, ambition, and authenticity are not optional. They are the price you pay to become the man you are meant to be. If you are ready to face the fire, take charge, and own your future, then your journey starts here. And now your host, Brad Wolgamott.
Welcome back to the Man Maker Show. B-Rad here, coming at you from Studio San José del Cabo. Hope you're doing awesome. I've got a headbanger for you here tonight, or today, or whenever you happen to listen to your car or at home, or wherever you happen to be digging in on the treadmill or the power bike, or whatever you're doing. You get a little food for your brain. I'm gonna come at you a little bit here today, and as a friend, but I'm gonna come at you in a way that it's pretty strong and pretty bold. You're kind of gonna have three choices here. You're gonna be like, "Yeah, man, bring it. I'm ready. I want to go." And you got the other guys that are like, "Here comes another Brad rant, whatever." And then the third of you are probably like, "I don't even know if I want to listen. Maybe I'll tune out. Give me 20 minutes. All right, give me 20 minutes. Give me 20 minutes of your time." And then if you want to not listen again, that's up to you. But I want to challenge you, but I want to love you. You know, I want to come at you, but I want to come next to you, right? I want you to know that my objective is to fight with you. My objective is to fight for you. I want to fight to bring your integrity to the forefront. I want to fight to bring your character to the forefront. I want to fight to bring the fight to your forefront. Right? I was famous for making a super silly quote once, but I have a dream that you'll have a dream. It's a silly quote, but in the time it made sense because most people lack vision. They lack a dream. They lack something that they're willing to lay it down for. Most people think of a dream as something whimsical or something materialistic or something super simple or something unrealistic. Those all are types of dreams. The kind of dream that I'm referring to is something that puts you into a warrior mindset for your family. I would hope that as men, family is the center of our universe. And if you don't have family yet, well, someday you will. And you'll be in that position where you'll have to either have developed the skills or you're going to get some on-the-job training. It's going to come at you real fast because you're going to have to learn to fight for it. And so I think that most of us have a couple things wrong. And so I have three goals, and I hope I can get these to you in a way that you hear my heart, because my heart is only to fight for you. My heart is not to intimidate you. My heart is not to call you less than amazing, because I don't believe you're less than amazing, but I believe that maybe in some ways you've acted less than amazing because you haven't challenged yourself to your inner best. And so I have three goals. Number one goal is to get your heart right, right? What I mean by that is the warrior's heart needs to be at war. It means you need to recognize there is an adversary that is coming for you. And if you think that life is supposed to be easy, then every time you get kicked in the teeth, you think it isn't fair. Every time things get hard, you think it's a universe's way of saying, take a different direction. But in reality, adversity is what makes us strong. It's the challenges that prove to us there's an adversary. And if we don't recognize it, in fact, if we aren't thankful for it, then we find ourselves already backing up in the position. I would go as far as saying it's an honor to be challenged, because the enemy will only come after those that are trying to make an impact. And if you're not making an impact, then they're not going to come after you. So I want to help you with your identity. And we spent a lot of time over the last couple of years talking about the importance of understanding who you are. And those of us that walk in the faith and understand that Jesus came to this world, put on flesh and bone as God himself, and went on the cross and took our sins, we believe in our hearts that we are sons of a greater king. We know that who we are and who our daddy is. And as a result, it gives us a strong sense of authority. Now, for those you don't have that faith, well, you need to find your own pathway. And I would hope that you do. But if we don't take the time to recognize who we are, then we're just kind of, it's to me, it's like solid ground. If I don't have a place to plant my foot, I can't make a cut. And solid ground to me is knowing who I am. The second part of that is that you're worthy. I don't know about you, but I spend a fair amount of my time questioning whether I was worthy of prosperity or success because I had so much failure in my personal life. And I felt like the imposter syndrome I talked about last week was owning me, that I was showing you what I wanted you to see, but deep down I wasn't that person. And most of us deal with that, so we think we're not worthy. When the reality is probably every human being, like I'm yelling at you, but every human being deals with this worthiness. Because we seem to measure ourselves by our worst moments, but we share with the world our best moments, and the truth being somewhere in the middle, and as a result, we don't feel like we're worthy. I think the third thing that we have to come to grips with getting our heart right is that we're needed. It's important that we become men and we become warriors, that things will not happen. The act of omission is as bad as the act of commission, that things will not happen if we don't take steps. Right? What's that old quote I say all the time? If you don't pay the price, the ones you love will be the price. If we don't step up, then who's going to have to step up and take the heat rounds if we don't step up and be the man of the house? Regardless of our situation, we've got to learn it. We are needed. Really sad story I heard a little while back about a gentleman who was single dad, raising his kid, and he was just super depressed and lost in his mind. And went to the store and bought a gun. It was early morning, and he's just out of his mind, depressed, and he thinks it's just the world is better off. Nobody needs me. And he's in his room, and he grabs a gun and puts it to his head. And trust me, this is a painful story because I've had a friend do this exact thing, and it's devastating to think about those moments. But the story goes that this particular man, before he pulls the trigger, he hears this little baby say, "Daddy, Daddy." And any father has heard those words. "Daddy, where are you? I need you." Every man's heard that if you have a kid. And if you haven't had a kid, I hope you do. You are needed. And your warrior heart is needed. And I'm going to say I don't care every time you fail, but I don't mean that in an insensitive way that I don't care. Just I don't judge. And all I know is that the more mistakes and pain you've been through, the greater the net you take through life, being able to help more and more people, because people can relate to the broken more than they can the perfect. So we're in that mode now where we got to get our heart right. The second thing I want you to get right is to become a man of consequence. Now, a man of consequence is not about guilt trips. I like that saying. I'm not a travel agent booking guilt trips, right? It's not about that kind of consequence. It's that everything matters, right? Everything matters. Every thought I have, every step I take, everything I do, it matters. There's a consequence. I'm so tired of people saying, "Well, I didn't mean it that way," or I didn't, that wasn't my intention. And I'm like, well, duh. But the problem is you don't think through the intention. You don't think that what you say matters. There's an incredible book. I quote it all the time, Supernatural Ways of Reality by Chris Valentin. And he says one of the greatest issues he had as an early pastor was he had a sense of humor where he would tease people. And he'd kind of make fun of them. And he had a kind of a real way, a real smart, witty way of making people, just kind of laughing. But it was usually demeaning. And finally, his secretary came to him one day and said, you just need to come to a place where you understand that you're hurting people. Your words matter. And God convicted him overnight that what he thought was funny was actually very hurtful. And that every word he said mattered. It was his move from a pauper to a prince. And it's a very common struggle for a lot of people as they don't realize that everything matters. When I was in the early throes of my devastating season of my life, I kind of had this mindset, well, it's my life. Screw off, right? Well, who are you to judge me? Who are you to say what I can and can't do? I don't want to live in a glass house for crying out loud. Everybody knows what I do. And the reason was because I didn't want everybody to know what I did. And so when anybody says, I don't want to live in a glass house, my question is why? What do you have to hide? Now, I get the other side of that because people are judgy and nosy and you don't need me in your business. So you're like, screw off, get out of my life. I don't live in a glass house. But I would ask you, is it really more of an ego protection to create this bubble around you so no one really knows your failure? Or can you somehow learn how to use your failure as a way that matters, that everything matters? You're a man of consequence. Stop saying it's not my fault. Stop saying that they made me do that. Stop saying you make me mad. Be a man of consequence, that everything I do, everything I say matters. Don't be tricky. Don't be sneaky. Don't be deviant. Be full of love and character and passion and commitment, and recognize that it matters. And the third thing I want to hit on is that you develop a legacy of character, right? I had a good friend of mine say that my vision from my life is that my kids wear a jersey with my name on their back and they're proud of it. And I will lay it down to make sure that jersey matters. You know, there's a saying back in the, I think it was the movie The Miracle, when he was challenging his team and he was saying, I want you to skate with a name on the front of your jersey means more than the name on the back of the jersey. And I love that quote because what he was saying is stop playing as an individual and play as a team. Yet your name still matters. The purpose of this is to determine exactly what my legacy will be. Your kids are going to carry it. I carry the legacy of my mom and dad. I carry the legacy of my grandfathers, okay? And, you know, those are suspicious histories. And oftentimes I have to shake those off, and then sometimes I got to dig deep to find the good. But it's real, and it's in there for all of us. So we have to be willing to break the patterns of our childhood because most of us have some crap in that pattern that we need to deal with, right? Whether it be alcoholism or drugs or abuse or infidelity or radicalness or anger or divorce or early death. I mean, it is unlikely that your fathers were perfect, as neither were mine. And so we need to learn from those and break those patterns because real men, right, are the ones that save lives. Real men are the ones that start revolutions. Real men are the ones that protect the marginalized. Real men are the ones that smash corrupt leadership. Real men are the ones that stand up and say, enough's enough. I am going to step in here and I'm going to save this life. I am going to stop this corruption. I am going to lead this revolution. And I don't mean like global revolution. It might be. Hopefully it doesn't come out of that. It might be. But what I'm saying is changing the way people think. One of the great problems in our country today is we are so torn apart that one of my goals is to not create more separation, but to create more togetherness. But I refuse to bow down to PC. I will not be politically correct. At the same time, I won't be so abrasive that people on the left side of the argument can't hear my argument because I for sure want to hear what's going on the left side of the argument. I would love to know why people think the way they do, as long as they can listen to what's going on the right side. But the problem with most people on the right is they cannot hear a damn word on the left, and the people on the left won't hear a damn word on the right, and we all have excuses why everybody's an idiot, and that's a problem. So here we are. And what are we showing our children? Now, if you don't have kids right now, maybe you need to tune out for 5 or 10 minutes, or maybe you need to train up because you will have kids one day. But we are image bearers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you right now that our kids are watching us. I can remember being in the Philippines, developing multiple programs and orphanages and so forth. And one of the things I would do frequently is I would show a video of my family so they kind of knew who my wife was and my kids were and what I'm all about and so forth, because people kind of want to know the story behind the story. It was kind of weird. It sounded a little self-serving, but people enjoyed knowing that there was a person behind what I was doing there as a business person. And the thing that caught my eye night after night was my little guy Nolan, my number 2 son, how often in the video I saw him look at me and glance at me and look at me and glance at me. And again, I don't mean that self-serving. I just had no idea how often my children looked at me. We are image bearers to our children. They watch everything we do and everything we say. And with our actions, we tell a story to them. And I guess the question I have to ask you, dads, is what story are you telling your kids with your actions? Number 1, is work more important? Is it? Is it? Just be honest. right? Do you take 8 hours a day to work and an hour a day maybe with your kids and call it a fair trade? Because I'm telling you, they know how to do math. Now, does that mean you spend 8 hours a day with your kids? If you can, but more than likely you can't. So how do you create quality time? When you're done working, do you put the phone down? Do you keep answering it? Can you shut your phone down? Are you in a place where you have to be on call all the time because of a medical emergency, or can you actually shut it off? Do your kids think that the phone is more important? It's a battle in my household because Chosen's called me out. Dad, you're on your phone a lot. And I'm like, I am sorry. Can you forgive me? And she goes, yeah, sure, of course. And I have to really watch it because, A, I love to study. I love to read. When I'm decompressing, I love to surf social kind of as a mind break, right? I love to watch podcasts. I love to watch inspirational things. And I have to be careful that when my kids are around or awake and present with me, that the phone is off. Because I don't want Chosen saying that I think the phone is more important. I can remember with Nolan years ago, many, many years ago, we were driving around in my big truck and I was on the phone talking to someone, doing something, just busy, and he's sitting in the front seat with me all buckled in. And he looks at me and goes, hey, boy, Dad, you're showing your phone a lot. And I'm like, meh, if that's the message I'm communicating, I am failing. So be honest with yourself and get rid of it. If you got to work, work. But when you're done working, be present with your kids, okay? Now, don't worry, I'm coming to the other side of the equation because I think often we overparent. We're snowplow parent. We're helicopter parent, snowplow. We just plow all the obstacles down so there's no hardship, hovering over them in case anything happens spontaneously. That is not helping our kids. So I'm coming to the other side. Don't you worry. But I think on the same token, we have to be aware of what are we saying. Are sports more important, right? During your ball game, to tell them, hey, just shut up. I just want to watch my one ball game. Or can you record it and watch it when they're sleeping, which is typically what I choose to do, even though I want to watch it live. And I tell my friends, don't text me. Don't tell me what happened. I have my certain sports that I love, and I love watching them, but I hate watching them when my kids wait for me to play. I hate it. Why? Because it matters to me what I'm communicating. Are your friends more important? You'll have friends over to your house, and are the kids now discarded and told to be quiet? Or do you include them? Or if your kids are unruly and screaming and yelling, are you in a position where you can discipline them to the point where they're respectful so you can have quality time with adult friends and they can still feel valued and engaged? It's usually one or the other. It's either A, they just disappear and you shut them in a corner and give them screen time so you can have adult time, or B, the kids are unruly and you can't have adult conversation. Either way, you're sending the wrong message when it comes to adult relationships. Learn how to parent through these things. Your kids need boundaries. They need discipline. They need to know that no means no. They need to know there's acceptable behavior. I was really proud of my son and my daughter-in-law. I was over at their house the other night for dinner, having a great time, and they have almost a 2-year-old, and sat her down in the high chair, and she was loud and unruly. I didn't really care because I'm just now getting a season where she calls me Poppy, and we're connecting, and I'm loving it. I mean, everything she does, I just smile and laugh. It doesn't matter what she does. But I noticed that Mommy picked her up, walked her around the corner, and said, we have manners at the table, and you need to use your inside voice, and you need to be a little more respectful. When Poppy's here, we're a little quieter. And she came back and she managed it. I was so proud of my daughter-in-law because she removed the child, educated, came back. Now, personally, I wasn't looking for that, but I observed like, wow, teacher 101 right there. Kids need to know that there are behaviors, that there are barriers, there are boundaries, and that is part of our responsibilities. I think the bottom line is, do your kids know beyond any shadow of a doubt, in the deepest of deepest, that you love them? Now, they're going to know that because you speak their love language, and every child has a love language. They hear it, they feel it, they experience it through your gifts and time. You need to know how they receive love, and the way they receive love is how they do love for you. Do they want to wrestle with you? Do they want to hug you? Do they want to sing to you? Is it words? Is it actions? Is it time together? But do they deeply know? This is going to be part of your plan. So as a daddy, as a father, now I would encourage you to learn these now and get them so deep that when you're having children, you respond versus react. We've talked many, many times before that if we're going to lead, we have to lead by response, not react, because we react instinctively with what's inside us, and oftentimes that stuff's not very good. We haven't been trained properly, so we say the wrong thing, we do the wrong thing, and then we get the result we don't want. If we train properly, then we respond under the pressure, we respond in the moment, and as a result, our kids, our life is in a much better place because we're responding versus reacting. So number one, do they know what you live, that you love them? Number two, what skills do you want them to have as they go through life? Have you actually thought what skills? Now, if your kids are 1 or 2, the only skills they're really getting is love mommy, daddy, and respect boundaries. But as they're developing at 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, are you wanting them to develop skills? Like right now, one of the skills I'm teaching Chosen is you clear the table. We're not done here until we're done with our conversation. Done with our food does not mean done. Done means we finished our food. We're done conversing as a family, which is our sacred place to be together. And when we're done, you may take the dishes and put them all in the sink. Now, there's only 3 of us, and it's not a big deal. I could do it. Mom could do it. But we have Chosen doing it. Why? Because I want her to serve. I want her to know that as a family, mommy worked hard to prepare the meal. Daddy worked hard to bring home the money to have a meal. And you're going to work hard cleaning up the meal. That's what we do as a team. What skills do you want them to learn? How to deal with adversity? Do you want them to have the skills of physical labor? Do you want them to have the skills of mentoring in people? Do you want them to have skills of being kind? Are you actually thinking about skills you want them to have and have a strategy to implement these skills? 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 14. Most kids, by the time they're 11 or 12, are in the blow-off of their parents. You've seen the stats as well as I have. You ask 2 to 7-year-olds who their hero was, 90% say their dad. From about 8 or 9 to like 12 or 13, about 60% say dad. But from 14 on, less than 10%, and by 18, 19, less than 2% say their dad's a hero. Why? Because they watched you. They watched you blow off. They watched you make excuses. They didn't see you win. They didn't see you slay dragons. They didn't see you save lives. They didn't see you fight for integrity. They didn't see you lead a revolution. They didn't see you protect the marginalized. They didn't see you smash corrupt leadership. They just saw you kind of cruise. You know, they follow people that do something phenomenal, like athletes. And that's the silliest sports. I mean, that's not really phenomenal, but in their world, it's phenomenal because of the way the world shapes that. But what are you doing that is outrageous that when kids take a look and do a report on dad, they see something amazing? Third thing, what do you want them to respect? Think about this now. What do you want them to respect? Because they will respect what you respect. Do you respect your spouse? Is your wife the most important human in the world, in that room, every single moment? Something happened in our house the other day. Chosen was a little bit disrespectful to Shelly. I think it was over a meal. I'm like, whoa, hold on. There is no one more important in this room than mommy. She has worked her buns off. We support her. I don't care if you don't like how it tastes. You're going to eat it anyways because she made it for us, and we're going to be respectful of that. She's like, okay, Daddy. Ate it all. She said, this is really good. I didn't realize this was that good. And she figured it out. Now, I'm not trying to be a dictarian. I'm not trying to just pound my kid, but I want her to respect mommy. I want her to respect God. I want her to respect rules. I want her to respect hard work. Right? She wants to go horseback. We're riding down here in Mexico. I'm like, well, are you willing to clean stalls? She goes, what? I go, you want to go in there and clean some poop up and feed the horses? Why would I do that? Because that's how it works, honey. If you want to spend money, you have to make money. To make money, you have to do things you don't want to do. So what don't you want to do? Clean poop and feed horses? Yeah. Then that's what you have to do to ride horses. If you don't do it, then I did it, and I went out and worked hard to make money so you can have this benefit. And I think it's time now, as a near 7-year-old, that you learn that benefit had cost, and the cost was hard work. And people say, it's kind of hardcore. I want to raise an amazing, humble, godly, loving, disciplined, fun child. And that's going to take some work on my part. What do I want them to respect? And then fourthly, what do you want them to experience in order to equip them to take on the new world we're coming into? Right? I think my well, I think every child needs to be around the world and see the travesty of third world poverty. I think they need to see what communism looks like. I think these people in our country that are pro-socialism have not been to countries and seen the devastation of it. I just read a book by a friend of mine that wrote a book called Willing to Die. And it was written about the communist takeover of Romania. And I mean, I want to talk about a riveting book. It went from a country that was free and one of the breadbaskets of Europe, of amazing farm and culture and music and art, and it absolutely just broke it down into complete devastation. And he lived through that and eventually came to America. Now he's a very successful businessman that I have a lot of respect for. But that book really showed me the gradualism of socialism. My kids need to see that. They need to experience that. They need to understand what happens when we embrace the gradualism of socialism. They need to understand what happens when somebody wants something for nothing, and that we should just give people things. Well, that if you give someone something for nothing, then someone gets nothing for something, and the people who gave something that didn't get anything are eventually going to stop giving it, and then there'll be nothing left. That's a real problem. And then the fifth thing is, what are they responsible for? What are they responsible for? I want you to think about this, because every kid needs to have a job. Like it or not, I am regretting the season in my life. What's what I'm looking for? I'm not regretting, but I'm not looking forward to the season when my kid has to get a job. Why? Because I don't want her to be gone 6, 7, 8 hours a day. I want to be with me 6, 7 hours a day. But if I baby her all the way through and take away all the struggle of earning a paycheck and doing a crappy job and working for a mean boss, then how is she going to be strong enough to deal with real life when I'm gone? I don't want her to have to work. I want to just be with her every day of every moment. But I think about my 4 kids I have from my first marriage, and my God, they are all so successful. They are such hard workers. They have such discipline. They have such strong character. They love God. Every one of them are doing so well. And to be honest with you, it was hard to be gone from them month after month, year after year, building the company to create prosperity. But my kids learned how to work hard by watching Daddy work his butt off. And they thanked me many, many times. Dad, thanks for the work ethic. Thanks for the work ethic. I used to thank my father when he was alive. Dad, thanks for showing me what hard work was. Because through that hard work, I was able to create a lot of dynamic success. But if it wasn't for the hard work, I would never have got there. So what it really boils down to, folks, and I'll wrap up with this, is that we have to learn to heal. We have to heal our wounds. Because if we don't heal our wounds, we will pass them on to our children or others in the same place. We will end up hurting people just as we were hurt. No one wants to hear that, but statistics show people that were raised in alcoholic families become alcoholics. People that were raised in abusive families become abusers. And they all say, I never in a million years would have thought I would do it, but they do. And I hope that you don't, and I'm not trying to give you an excuse to do it. All I know is that if we don't heal from our wounds, we will end up hurting our kids in more than likely the same way. If you need to deal with some forgiveness, deal with some forgiveness. If you've got some brokenness in your heart, if you've got some beliefs, if you've got things that you like, something you saw your parents go through or your brother or sister go through, or something you went through and you haven't really dealt with the forgiveness, if you haven't really had a conversation around why was this happening in our world, then you're probably going to pass it on. And you're going to pass it on almost blindly, like an excuse. Well, I just believe in this. Why do you believe in this? Because you were raised that way? Or maybe you just need to go back there and figure out what it was that's broken. And I'm talking to all of you, and I'm specifically talking to a lot of you that are my friends that I know quite well. Are there things that are broken in your world from your childhood? I don't mean like deep pain. There could be deep pain, but stuff that you need to create some resolution so that you can move on to the next level, because we are called to deal with our brokenness. It is part of our legacy. It is passing on a legacy of healing to our children. It is our responsibility to heal from our wounds, to pass on a legacy of healing. If we don't do this, we will pass it on. And to me, that's a disaster. It's a tragedy. But here's the good news. You can do it. This podcast is designed for those 3 major goals. 1, to get your heart right. get your identity, get your fight, get your kickback. Number 2, to recognize that there's consequences to every action. And number 3, to create that legacy of character. You are capable. If I can come from living in a crappy little 1-bedroom apartment in Edmonds, Washington with a $400 car and nothing to show, to creating a multi-million-dollar business, to failing on my face, losing it all, and then fighting to get it all back and re-earning it through new models and new techniques. If I can do it, then you can do it. It wasn't easy. It was painful. It was a struggle. But I've shown my kids what the legacy of healing looks like. Because I didn't make excuses. Because I didn't say failure is final. Because I didn't stay down. I kept getting back up. And I've shown them the humility of failure and the importance of getting back up and establishing character and integrity through hard work and discipline, and recognize that everything will come full circle. This is not about me telling you how great I am, but all I tell you is that if I can do it, you can do it. There is greatness in you. It is easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men. Your legacy will be the greatness of your kids. Build great children. If you weren't developed as a great child and now you're a broken man, you got a bigger project. But it's easier to raise strong children than it is to repair broken men. I believe 100% that you've got what it takes, but you're going to have to go find it. It's not natural, but yet it should be instinctive, meaning it's in there. You don't have to create something. You just have to awaken it, because God gave us all the same tools to be great, to be a warrior, to be a man of character, integrity, to get back up, to recognize I'm speaking things that are familiar to your soul. Take them seriously. Dig in. Ask yourself these questions. Go back and listen to these podcasts. Take notes and make yourself a punch list of the things you know you need to work on. I love you. I want you to win. I'm not speaking here for my own benefit. I'm on vacation down here in freaking Mexico. I don't need to do this. I do this because I want you to win. I want you to get back up and say, I'm a dog. I'm dangerous and willing. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I want to be great. I love you. Brad Wolgamott, Man Maker Show, out.